Hey, welcome to Alpha Gaming. We're going to be showing you today how to win as England on Hearts of Iron 4. The key to this really is all in the setup, and we'll show you lots of things that are going to help you on your way to dominate the map. We're going to be going through things like the setup, the research, construction, production, keeping Egypt, because that's one of the main things that's really important. Looking at the naval setup, the air defence, as well as for the UK and Egypt, and the political laws as well, and also the templates and the trade and the doctrines. So there's quite a lot to get through, but we're not going to keep you any longer than required. But it's really important, I would say, that you follow these steps if you're really looking to have a positive playthrough. The first thing I want to draw you to, though, is the UI, because a lot of people are reporting that it's a little bit too small on their screen, so I just wanted to alleviate that for you. I believe it's set at 1 or even below that. If you go into video options, UI scaling, it's experimental, but it really does work. I've set mine to 1.3 and you can see the resolution here in a windowed what's it called, startup mode, and you just click apply and you're on your way. Please subscribe, it's really important you do. You may hear the fans, it's because we're working with low value equipment at this point, but if we can grow the channel through subscribers and likes and views, then we'll be able to bring you more content like this. And please do comment if there's anything you're interested in us doing. We will be covering Starfield and whatnot later on, but let's get going. Single player, new game. We're going to start in 36, select scenario, select country. We'll just do it on recruit. If that's, if you're a fairly new player, then it's probably a good place to start. Regular is slightly more challenging. As you can see, the differences there. You get a few little boosts, but we're going to work on the historical AI focuses. So Germany is going to be up our arse. France is going to be gone. And yeah, we'll just crack on from here, shall we? No additional game rules. We're working based on what we've got. Start. Really enjoy this game. Really brilliantly put together. We're not using any of the DLCs either. Okay, so what do we want to do? Well, we know that Germany are going to push through into France and they're going to start bombarding us. Well, what we need to do is stop them getting across here, and we'll come to that in a moment, but let's get set up. Research. You want to be focusing on your building trees because you need to be getting and constructing civilian factories, and we'll show you why in a moment. So my advice is get started on the production. 2 researchers on production. The main defence of England against Germany is going to be the air defence. There's not, we're going to make it so that nobody's going to be able to navally invade you, so you can utilise these troops here. So we're going to go with the Hawk Hurricane. We're going to go right up down to the Spitfire, and we're going to upgrade it fully using the air experience that we're going to gain. And also we want to be upgrading the infantry now, because this is going to help us defend Egypt, because it is a nightmare to keep. Okay, next thing, 3 civilian factories. What we want to be doing here is building as much civilian factories as possible, because this is what's going to allow you to obviously build more of these. So you've got 15 here. You want to be building at least 3 to 4 things at a time. So I usually set off and do half the country with civilian factories. I put a few in of military factories because we're going to want to be increasing this quite considerably as well, but we can transfer these over, and we're going to build one of those at the same time as building these civilian factories. Naval dockyards, we're going to want a couple of these. It's really important that we start building this up as well, because protecting our convoys is going to be really important. moving forward, especially because we're going to need to get oil from the USA, and we're going to need to protect that again, across the entire Atlantic. Let's put a few more in here where we're not full. Okay. Civilian factories. This is the production screen. So what we want to do is we want to get as much infantry equipment as possible, and extra support equipment. And we're gonna can the bombers for now. We can build them later, and we're gonna bring the plane up here because we want to start banging these out now so that we can easily defend later on against Germany. But also in Egypt, we're going to be using close air support. So get a close air support going, because that'll support the troops on the ground. It'll make it much easier for them when they're defending Egypt. Keep the light tanks, always good to build them up. Next, 3 dockyards. What you'll notice here is there's a number, and that's how many ships are going to be produced. If you do that, it'll just keep producing them. So we're going to want at least 2 destroyers being produced. Get rid of that one. Let's have 3 going, and that'll just keep continuously producing those. Submarines, we want those to be obviously. Submarines, we're going to want more than 1 being produced because they're really powerful within this area here. So we'll get 2 of those being produced. Light cruisers, we don't want 3 of those, but we do want a heavy cruiser because that's going to complement the light cruiser. We'll just have 1 light cruiser being made, get them constantly built, and we'll also start building battleships. Really important and powerful. And what I generally do is have 2 of each on each ship that we're building, and these will come into, and I'll show you where they are when we get to it, the sort of the naval combat aspect of it later down the line. Light cruiser, heavy cruiser, and then we've got an extra one, so we'll have 3 on the battleship because they take a lot longer. So look, you can see September, and that one's March. We're in January now. Let's set this off playing. It doesn't really matter at this stage. Missing equipment, let's have a look. Not bothered about the carrier fighter. I'm not going to work with carriers particularly. Tactical bomber, naval bomber. I'm not bothered about those, so we'll get rid of that. National focus. What do we want to be focusing on? So we want to be fortifying the Suez, which is where Egypt is. You can see we want a coastal fort, we want the air bases, we want the land forts, and we want the anti-air as well, because we want to start to get hammered by Italy later down the line. So we'll start on this tree, and as it goes, I'll talk you through it. No divisions in basic training. Let's just train some basic infantry, get them set up to land in Sussex when they're ready, and we'll edit this later down the line, but we'll get 3 of those training. So what we'll do is we'll put upgrades as high priority and reinforcements, because what that's going to do is make sure that our men on the ground are getting what's required rather than the training. So we'd rather our men on the ground be fully equipped than training new men. And eventually, when we've got plenty of civilian factories and military factories, it goes without saying that we're going to be producing a lot of equipment a lot quicker. Divisions. So what I tend to do is I always bring everyone to Egypt. So let's create a defense force. You can name things up here. So what should we call it? Egypt force. What we want to do is we want to get somebody with the highest defense, and you just click it here and it'll bring the person up who's best in defense. So extra 15%. Cloud, let's get him in there. What you'll see is he can have up to 24 men. Well, that's not the whole story. So we're going to area defence. We're going to defend here, 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 and here, and here. Don't worry about any down here. Egypt's going to take this whether you defend it or not. Sorry, Italy are going to take it whether you defend it or not. And as you can see now here, we can have up to 72. So what it's saying is to defend this area adequately, we're going to need 40 divisions. Well, if you click on this and start allocating people over, you just keep clicking it and it'll take you to everyone on the map. And what you'll see is this little thing here means that they're travelling. So if it's not done that, then something's not right. Grab them all, stick them all in there. What's the next one? You see, you can pull everyone out of these. You can pull them out of all these areas because France will keep this mostly. These won't get attacked. Down here will probably get taken by Italy. The Germany tend to sort of take Belgium down here. And you've got all these here which let the Americans deal with that area once they crack on. So we'll get everyone in here. So now you can see we're starting to build up a force here. And you should have about 40 divisions. Right, we've got 36 divisions there. Any more that get trained in between now and 1939, we'll bang them in here. And you'll see also that the colonial garrison, they're not actually infantry, most of them, apart from the ones coming from England. So what we'll do is, in the templates, we can just edit this, and we can add a few more men in, and it'll just reinforce them, but we haven't got any army experience yet. And we'll talk through these stats in a bit. Okie dokie. Air defence of Egypt. We want air superiority. So what have we got here? 72 fighters, we've got some bombers, and we've got some close air support. Close air support's really important, and so is here. We probably want to max this out to 1200, and we'll just defend this whole area. But for now, we haven't got the stock, so we're not gonna. Ships. You can click down here, you can also select the ships. What have we got? Where are these guys? So this is Alexandria. Let's select a commander, defense and attack. I think I'm going to go with John, just based on he's got high defensive and he's got a reasonable attack. And what we're going to do is, where's these? Bermuda, we're going to bring everyone into here. So select all. Yeah. I'm going to get them all to move into this area here. Where are these guys? Yeah, we'll let the Americans deal with that. In that area, so, you know, the Hong Kong, the Asian areas. So now he's got 10. How many ships has he got then? Where does it say that? There's not enough ships, but anyway, so what we want to do is, we want it to set it as strike force. And these are the areas we want to defend here, because what it does is it allows us to control and cut off Italy from their supply routes. So what it'll do is it won't use oil all the time. It'll only use oil when they're out of the dock. Whereas if you use and patrol it, it'll just constantly use your oil. And you can see we've got basically no oil because we're England and we don't produce it ourselves, which is why we're going to go and get it from the Americans in a bit. So that's that part of the ships. Up here, this is the channel. This is going to be Scottish Highlands, Sussex, Yorkshire. What we want to do is we want to select a commander, Admiral Cunningham, because he's the best. Let's get this Humber force over to him. And let's stick them also in here. Let's group them together so that he's not over his capacity. We've got, what we got? 47 ships so far, by the looks of it. Or is that? No, we haven't. We've got a lot more ships than that. So there you go, up there. We've got at least 100 ships. And what we're going to do is we're going to do the same here, strike force. But we're going to cover the entirety of England so that nobody can get through the channel to attack us or even naval invade, and that's the important thing. Germany are not going to be able to get through there because of our ships. You can see here we're 100% naval supremacy. We've got 9,100 sort of ranking, as it were, and you'll see that start to creep up later on. So UK Air Force is pretty dismal at the moment. What I like to do is get the bombers and stick them all over here, because they're pretty useless at the start of the game. I bring all of these planes, I bring them all over to here because Scotland basically doesn't really get touched. And it's just so nice. See some bombers here. We'll get them all over here. And there's more bombers. We can utilise those later, probably even on naval raiding. There we go, look. What's this? Close air support. Let's go stick those into Egypt, because they'll support our men on the ground. And there we go. So we're set up, essentially, to repel the oncoming Germans. So let's start getting this going now. In regards to trade, don't know if you plan on using this, but I would advise, let's get rid of that, I'd advise that you trade with America and get all your oil from America. What you can do is you can select this and it'll show you who's got the most. So what do we want to do is get plenty of oil, 40 oil, and as you can see we've got a much larger pool of oil. So now we're going to get maximum daily consumption is 22k. Our navy does 19 on its own, 2.6k on the air, so we're just about there. But what we'll do is with the research we will start researching oil processing, fuel gain from refineries, but also you get per oil over here, fuel refining, plus 20% per oil gain. So we'll start kicking this on a bit now. As you can see, the research is starting to go through. Next, we're going to keep following it down, protect the Suez. Spain issues started. How's the construction going? So because we've traded with America for the oil, we've actually lost some construction capacity. What we're going to be looking to do is, in the laws and government area, is we want to get down to service by requirement. Probably not. We'll go to extensive conscription. Definitely want to do that now. Because we want to have more men. This is going to help us with recruiting our navy and the air force. Export focus. Eventually we're going to want to go to limited exports and civilian economy. We want to end up at war economy because that removes all of the penalties that we're going to have. We want to start recruiting the chief of the army next, so that we can. So that's going to come up in a minute. I would suggest going with army defence, because that's what we're going to be fighting. We're going to fight a defensive war as they did in World War Two. Okay, what's next? Okay. Just keep researching that. Right, so we've got an option here. So we've got concentrated industry, or we've got dispersed industry. Take a look for yourself, but these two are mutually exclusive. I would suggest going with dispersed industry, purely based on the fact that it helps the Navy as well. Construction. Let's pause this a second. Details, right, so we've got that. We've got that. Spitfire, make sure he gets the Spitfire as quickly as possible. We want to start excavating as well, because we get more resources on a base level than what we would normally. But we're going to go with the oil because we're going to have a problem. Outdated equipment, the Gladiator. Just click on it, start producing the Hurricane. As you can see, reinforcement. We're not producing enough of things at the moment. Well, we will. National focus. So what this does is it gives, so it bolsters Alexandria or Egypt, as well as protect the Suez. So it's really powerful. These really helps us defend it. Let's recruit Chief of the Army, Defence. What else? I don't bother training my troops because they'll gain experience pretty quickly. So with that, we've got 136 ships up here. Let's this build up. This is our reserve force, but we'll distribute those later. That's the last one. So we want this, yeah, like I say, we want to keep going until we've got at least 4 just banging out new constructions. Modified government, Chief of the Air Force, night operations, because we're going to be getting hammered 24 hours a day, so we need to be able to fight in the dark. So there we go. Got naval base, air base. Just keep going. Protect the Suez. That's our main goal. Let's have a look, see what's going on down here. What happens is Italy start to see how our men have. Italy starts to come up on the border here, and we do also get attacked over here as well at some point, and they really do push in quite effectively through here. They'll also take all of this, but this is really quite easy to take back. So I'm going to start kicking this down a bit now, so you might see it jump because I'll be pushing it forward now through right up until 1939. I just wanted to show you protect the Suez is done. I don't really bother with the rest of these. What we want to do is now we want to get back to limited rearmament, because it starts giving us civilian factories, extra research slots. It allows us to just kick on a bit with our production and whatever else we're doing. Dispersed industries complete. Let's look at the details of that. Just keep following it all the way down. As you can see, because of the limited, because we changed the conscription law, we've got a lot more men. Let's get the Navy guys in. No, we can't because command power's low. Infantry equipment designer, that's what I usually go for. We're starting to get some naval bases now. So an extra battleship, and we'll have an extra submarine. Right, here we go. So we're starting to get some army experience now. And let's go into our deployment. Let's edit this. We want to add more men into this because this is what's most of the ones defending Egypt are colonial garrisons. 10. So we've got 58. We want engineering company. We want support artillery. 16 width. You want to be going for a 20 width. That's just widely accepted as the best width. 18. And infantry. We'll just have infantrymen there. 20 combat width. And as you can see, defence has gone way up. Save that. Don't worry about that. National focus. I like to go down the motorised front, but what we'll do is we will go down the shadow scheme, because then we'll start building up our military factories. Spain's nearly finished. Additional divisions. I'm just going to send them all straight over there. What that means is production's working. Because we've fulfilled the equipment, so that's over in production. As you can see, we're starting to get on top of it now. That'll change in a minute when we've upgraded our weapons with the research. Shadow scheme's done, so let's go and look at the details of that. We want an extra research slot, so let's go down the industrial effort. So then we've got an extra one down here, and we can start coming into other categories. I would suggest starting to upgrade ships. Dispersed industry is done, but we're going to keep following down that chain. This is the towed artillery, so that's going to help the infantry defend. I'm going to keep going on there with infantry equipment. That's going to take us a bit too long because it's a bit ahead of time, so let's get this one done. Industrial effort. Let's get this extra research slot. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to kick it on until we get to the actual war and Germany started to attack France, and then you can sort of see how we do from that. But the premise is build up your air defence. So let's quickly just look at this. How are we producing anything? Let's look at what production's saying. So it's still reinforcing. But once that's done, it'll start producing new ones. We can start allocating them through here. Just coming up to September 1937. I know I said I'd meet you back at 1939. However, I've obviously got that extra research slot. I've again doubled down on infantry. So what you want to be doing as you go is infantry, infantry, infantry. Just make sure your infantry is all good. Once the first infantry's one's done, I'm going to go with the navy, like now. So okay, we want to just start upgrading that. What are we producing? Well, we're producing destroyers, we're producing cruisers. In fact, let's get the cruisers started. Doctrine, we've got the extra research slot. So we're going to go with general rearmament. It essentially reduces the consumer goods, and the consumer goods is what's reducing our capacity for our civilian factories to build new buildings with. 3 military factories. bang it straight on planes. In fact, we don't want to be doing anything else other than planes until it gets to here. You can set these so whenever you build something new, it'll automatically allocate them for you. As you can see, we're building up here air defence, air experience. We'll use that once we've got the Spitfire, because we'll upgrade it massively, and then therefore the German planes will be annihilated. Divisions. Yep, let's let France join, because that's part of the whole history of it. Just pause this. Construction, we've got more construction. Let's get these ones done because we've given them basically for free for 80 days. So let's get those. France are now part of us, so they'll start defending their territories once they know they're under threat. As you can see, Italy is now starting to position itself because things are starting to escalate, so they're going to try and push through here. On the area defence, you'll see it needed 40 divisions. We've got 42 now. And look at all this. That just looks great, doesn't it? Nobody's going to take that. Especially because we've updated the template and it's now reinforced everyone. Just on this, we've got them defending everything. Just do that. It means they won't be able to take anything. So let's do this first. Let's do air rearmament, or do we want to go this? Let's go Navy, because we want to be able to build as much as possible with this. So we've got 700 built up here of political power. Now the best things to do: great battle plan doctrine costs -15, so therefore we can upgrade the way that our army fights a lot quicker. Not bothered about special forces. We've got that. Let's upgrade the submarines, because they're the ones that are going to be taking the Germans down in here. And that's pretty much it for 1937. I know I keep jumping in. My apologies. So upgrade the Navy. Get the Spitfire going. I'll come and speak to you about this one in a minute. Once it's done. Excavation. Just keep going down that building route. So down the industrial route. Keep going down the infantry route, upgrading the infantry equipment. And once this is done, you can probably start upgrading tanks. I actually like to use motorised infantry because it's highly manoeuvrable. It means that you can take Italy. Well, you can take the whole of Africa if you wanted, but you can take Italy once they pin you in much quicker, because they're not using motorised infantry. So I'll see you when Germany declares war on us. Okay, so Germany has declared war on Poland. France have now called us into it. Do we accept, or do we not bother and just let them all crack on? Well, we should accept, because that's what we do at World War II. So accept. The German Reich is justifying war against us. We are at war. So let's call everyone. Call all. And then let's start losing this war. Because obviously that's what happens. I just wanted to talk you through a few things. Who can we invite? Poland. Let's just invite them in for the sake of it. Right. What we want to do it. So in fact, I just want to take you through the research, so where we're at. So obviously, I've got the Spitfire. I've got, so on the infantry side, I'm up to 1940. I did get the Bren carrier because I'm going to start motorising the infantry when we start recruiting in the UK, because there's no point in trying to send troops from the UK over to Egypt because they'll just get killed, get taken out by enemy ships. So take a look at that. That's where we are with that. I've not bothered with any special forces. We'll look at those later when we're looking to invade, naval invade. Supply companies. I'm going for engineer company 2. I'm going to take it right up until here because what it does is it really boosts our defensive stats. Not done anything else. Armour. I've not started on the army yet, but I'm going to go down the heavy route with the Vickers, Churchill, and get down to the Black Prince and then Centurion. I've gone down to the Q25 pounder. If we do invade Germany through naval invasion, we will go down the anti-tank route for obvious reasons. Ships, I'm all the way up to 1936 on the ships. Once we get to 1940, we'll start going down this as well. To naval invade, we're going to want this transporters as well. Just makes things a lot easier. As you can see by the stats there, it really does help things out, but we're not going to do that yet. We're just going to try and survive for a bit. Spitfire. You click on this, in fact I'll show you in a minute, but we've gone all the way down to Spitfire. There's no point in going to Spiteful, it really doesn't change things, but we're going to go close air support all the way up to the Tempest because it really does help on the ground, defending, and also then attacking when we get around to it. Not bothered with any bombers, we can do that later and it's quite quick to do. Industry, electronic engineering have started coming down here, going down the radar. That will help with our air defense, and then we're going to start this as well. As you know, obviously in World War II, you know, the Enigma machine helped us crack a lot of things. It will help us defensively and attack, and it will give us the advantage against the enemy. Industry, we're down here, construction 3. We're going to take it right down to the bottom. And we're going to also do the excavations as well, and oil. We're also starting to work our way down here. We want to improve the production efficiency cap because currently it's limited, so we'll keep going down here as well. And that's where we are with the research. Politically, we're at early mobilisation. We're going to go to war economy now because that will give us a hell of a lot more civilian factories. Export focus, we're going to limit exports because then we'll keep more of our resources. Limited subscription, we'll go to extensive conscription because you'll see that it does start to affect us in terms of factory output and whatnot. So at the moment extensive conscription's enough, but we haven't got enough of that, so we'll do that in a minute. Tank designer, the Vickers Armstrong. Supermarine Spitfire, obviously for the what is it called, aircraft construction company. Infantry designer, industry concern, gives us an extra 15% on industry, research cost, speed. And you can see what I've gone with here. And all these are just pick who you want, it doesn't really matter, they're all fairly similar, but it'll give us all of these experiences up here. So let's crack on, shall we? Poland has accepted our offer. Germany's now hammering them, they'll get taken pretty quickly, and then we'll start on these two and then France. In Egypt, you can see that we've now got 54, they're gearing up to crack on. We're going to defend all of this area, so that's fine, that'll look after itself. Ships in this area. All based in Alexandria. You can see we've got a hell of a lot of ships. Got 151 ships in there, and that'll take care of that for us, so Italy can't resupply themselves. Doctrines. We've started on steady she goes. Home defence at this stage. However, where's that gone? What we have done is we've obviously done the Suez. We've done the reinforce the Empire. We've come down here. We've developed New Zealand, Australia, developed Canada, because what that's done is it's given us naval dockyards, it's given us additional building slots in those areas when we want to utilise them. We've done this whole area here, we've got the extra research slot. Once we're at war with Germany, we will start down here to get nukes. And what we're going to do is we're going to come down the air armament road. And issue gas masks. France is starting to bulk us up here. Looking pretty good at the moment. Let's have a look what's going on down here. Germany started to try and hammer France as well. Poland's dead already, that was quick. As you can see, it's starting to take shape now. What we're going to do is, we're going to, so infantry divisions, we're going to have another one that's going to be the England force. Motorised, and I'll show you how we're going to change that in a minute. We want it for attack, officer lease, and I'll show you how we change that in a second. 3 military factories, right, this is where we start ramping up production. Got plenty of Spitfires coming, we're going to put that to full. We're going to start ramping up close air support, we're going to get improved artillery. Start researching the tanks now. What else can we do? Maintenance company, because we're going to have motorised infantry. Let's look what outdated equipment we've got. Close air support's got old. Upgrade that. What else? Nothing. What we want to do is to change the infantry template division. Now, what we want to create in the production is some mechanised infantry. We want to start creating these, so we want plenty of those. And this will start to allow us to create our mechanised infantry. But we don't want to do that until we have so in here to change the infantry division, what we're going to do is we're going to change all of our infantry to mechanised infantry, as you'll see. We'll have the maintenance company as well once that gets up and running. We'll save that. And you can see there, look at that defence there, 576, nothing's getting through that. Hard attack, soft attack, that's pretty good. Breakthrough is very good. So what we're going to go through next is the air defence. We're a bit low on planes at the moment. We've currently got 6, 8, 9 here. I mean, they're going to be trying to come over in like the 2000s, so you want to be getting as many planes as possible, and you're upping your production of that. If you can get to building 2 lots of Spitfires, then do so. Oh, and by the way, I upgraded the Spitfire to a Mach 1. So to show you here, using the air experience, weapons 5 so we can beat them weapons wise, engines so we're more manoeuvrable, and reliability so that we outlast them. Range doesn't really matter because it's literally just covering the channel. So make sure you select Spitfire Mark 1. As we start to produce more, you know, as we've got more military factories, as you'll see in construction, we're now down to, you know, building 3 buildings at a time, and we've got lots of military factories to come here, and we'll keep cracking on with that, and we just keep building planes. So here we are with these guys. You right click and then you click, you left click on it. We don't want to do strategic bombing because it's not going to do anything, but we do want them to be, you know, naval strike and fighter and air support missions. There's 600 here, as I say, they'll come over in droves, so you need to be prepared. Select this here and make sure you click air superiority, because if you don't, they won't actually do anything. Bombers I've set here to naval strike, so they'll kill all the boats coming over, so you again there won't be any issues with naval invasion, so you don't need the troops here. We've got 400 defending southern England. That won't be enough. In fact, what we'll do is, now you can see what we've built up. We've got 294 close air support. That's not enough. That's probably better in Egypt, so let's stick that over in Egypt. We've got that there. Okay, so they're going to deploy here. Now we want them to defend Egypt. We'll click on it here as before. Naval strike, no. Click on it to select them all. Air superiority and close air support, and then these men here will literally just defend it. So just quickly while we're here, this defense thing means they'll do it automatically and they'll redistribute themselves based on where they're being attacked, so you don't need to worry too much about that. Just leave that as it is, and it will look like they're closing in, and they will get right up to here and they will start to attack, and they might make some ground down here. They won't make any ground here. Look, if you want us to show you how to then take Italy after that, then you'll need to comment and let us know. You'll hopefully like the video and subscribe. Because we've changed our infantry template, what will happen is these will start reinforcing, so the mechanised infantry will start growing in terms of you know, the trucks that we've set off in the production queue. In fact, we need to bring that up so they start producing them sooner. Let's just get rid of that. Let's get rid of that, because we need them to start building now. Military factories. Let's just pump this back up. Let's get doing 2 at a time, and they'll all just start to filter in, and this defence will start to go up to 500 or whatever, as you saw before. So Egypt's sorted defensively and from the air, so you can leave that. The ships we've got here are defending here, so any strike forces are going to get taken out, but we're also going to have, you know, the likes of France's fleet and whatnot. And then we've got obviously our air defence, and just basically just keep adding the Spitfires once they start filtering in. What we should do actually is, while we're here, is probably leave that as it is actually. Rather than training more, let's just train 1 unit at a time. We don't really need them yet. You'll want to start building that up later when you want to start taking the Germany with the Americans, but you want to get your air force down here to about the 2000s, 2000 here at least, and then maybe 800 here, 400 up here, and Scotland just let it fend for itself. That's what it wants to do anyway, isn't it? Independence and all that. And that's kind of it for now. If you want, like I say, if you wanted us to oh, actually, naval. So what we're doing navally here is we've obviously got all of these ships here. It's just set to strike force, so nothing can invade you, and it's all around the UK. So you're pretty safe. Well, you're very safe. nobody's ever been able to get across here in the setup that we've got. If you want to start taking out their convoys, you can add these extra areas and add convoy raiding. What I would do is I would actually use your backup fleet for that. So you could just add a commander, right click in here, and you can just strangle Germany to slow them down a bit. Obviously once they take France, then they've got all of this, and then I suppose you could support the Bay of Biscay as well with this umbrella that you've got, but you will start losing ships very quickly, so you need to replenish them. which is obviously where your building queue comes in. You've got the extra naval bases here that will allow you to build more ships quicker. You still want to build these civilian structures, civilian what they call civilian factories, so that you can build more and more and more, and keep building military factories as much as possible. So I think that's it really. As I say, if you want to have us show you how to take all of this area with the land battles, which is quite complicated in itself, we'll do a whole video on that. Probably shorter than this one, but with this, if you're quite happy to just go it alone and you know, trial and error, try your best, save it, crack on for a bit, save it again, and if you start losing, just go back to your previous save. If not, comment, subscribe, and we will continue doing these videos. I appreciate you watching. As I say, by you watching and hopefully subscribing, you're allowing us to grow. I will get better at presenting. I'm pretty new to doing all of this, but also if we can get to 1,000 subscribers and X amount of view hours, then we can monetize the channel and we'll invest in some better equipment, maybe even get some better presenters on. Thank you for your support, and good luck with this battle. Cheers.